Krystal, also known by my artist name, the most famous woman in the world. So today we're going to talk about something that is extremely exciting if you know what it is, but might sound a little bit more boring if you have only heard of it in passing, or if you've never heard of it, or sometimes things like this can sound really boring to you if you are very young. But I assure you that this is a very exciting investment vehicle and savings vehicle for you, and it is something that you want to be looking at no matter what age you are. So if you're 18, if you're 25, if you're in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, or even if you are below 18, you can even open up your own Roth IRA, as long as you have a parent or guardian who can sign the necessary legal documents with you. So first of all, let's decode what IRA stands for. So IRA just simply stands for Individual Retirement Account. And don't get confused by all of the acronyms and everything. Just think of it as an account. So just like you have a checking account, you have a savings account. So this is a retirement account, which is meant to help you save and grow your money over your lifetime so that when you are in retirement age, you have a nest egg that you can withdraw and you can use. And essentially some people can look at it like a savings account. It's really more an investment vehicle, but essentially it's an account with big tax breaks, and it is an ideal way to sock away cash for your retirement, and that's why people use this, and that's why people love this so much. And you can put your dollars, your money that you're going to be putting into this account are what's called post-tax dollars. And what that means is money that you have already paid taxes on. So to put that in a simple context, that means if you are a wage earner, that means if you work an hourly job, then the salary or the hourly that you get, if let's say you're a W-2 employee, then usually when you get your check, your taxes have already been taken out for you. So that money is good to go to contribute to your Roth IRA. And also, just to touch upon something super important, a Roth IRA is like a house, like an empty house, and you have to put assets in it that you are contributing to. So if you open a Roth IRA and you don't choose which investments you want your money to be going into within the Roth IRA, you are not going to be utilizing the Roth how it should be. And this is a mistake that actually I'm sure many people make, because you think, oh, well, just like you open a checking account and you put money in it and that's it. You would think, oh, well, I opened a Roth IRA, I put money in it and that's it. But you have to choose which assets you're going to be investing in within the Roth IRA. So you can think of it as maybe even a cardboard box. And in the box, you have to put money printing machines in it. And you have to choose which money printing machines are going to go in your box. Okay, so so when you are allowing your investments within your Roth IRA to grow, the great thing about it is that that money will grow tax-free. And it will grow tax-free long-term until you take it out at retirement. And at retirement, you will not be taxed on the withdrawal of that money. And that includes, you won't be taxed on the principal. So you're not going to be taxed on the money that you initially put into it. And you're not going to be taxed on what's called capital gains. So you're not going to be taxed on the earnings of that money either, which is why people love this. Again, I know I said that, but people love it for that reason. People like the idea, love the idea. I love the idea of being able to withdraw this money in retirement age, and the growth that you saw over the years of you contributing to it. You get to take all that money out, and the government is not going to take a chunk of that. And here's another interesting thing as well, that Roth IRAs actually can be handed down through generations. So if you have kids, you don't have to take the money out. So if you don't need the money when you're in retirement and you want them to have generational wealth, and just think of all of those earnings growing over 2 or 3 generations, it will grow to a shocking amount, usually with a smallish amount of investment or average amount of investment. But time is really your friend with this, because decades goes by, and let's say every 7 years or so, the money inside of it could potentially double, and doubling and doubling and doubling through the decades. And you can hand that Roth IRA down through the generations to your kids, and they will not have to pay taxes at the time that they withdraw that money, which is amazing. So first of all, also, who is Roth? Is Roth some kind of acronym? No, it's not. It's the name of the senator who introduced the legislation, which was Senator William Roth of Delaware. And he helped establish Roth IRAs under the Taxpayer Relief Act of 1997. So this is actually not something that was created in the 1800s or anything like that. This was created in 1997. And opening a Roth is not as complicated as you might think. You can actually open your Roth IRA for free, completely for free. And there's many different places, there's different companies that you can use to open a Roth IRA. And you can compare those by a simple Google search. And some of the companies that you can research are Vanguard, Fidelity, Webull, E-Trade, Robinhood, and many more. And you can open these with a brokerage, a robo-advisor, or a bank. So you can just type in open a Roth IRA account, and you're going to see tons and tons of options. And usually it's about the same kind of process as opening a checking account. So same type of thing. You got to provide your name and your address and your social security number and all of that stuff, as well as you can provide who is going to be a beneficiary for your account in case anything happens to you. So that could be your spouse or your kids or your parents or whoever you feel should have that beneficiary designation. And so also you might be wondering, so what can you have in a Roth IRA? Well, you can have stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, and you can even have real estate in some cases. So you can choose what types of assets are in your Roth. And yes, you can pick individual stocks. You can pick however much percentage of each type of asset class you want. But I have actually been reading for the very first time the seminal personal finance book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, by Ramit Sethi. I hope I'm saying his name right, but which is an amazing book. Honestly, I super recommend. Oh wow, I guess I'm a little bit hoarse right now, but it's a super awesome book. I super highly recommend that. I Will Teach You to Be Rich. But you can, I was speaking of him to say that you can take some of his advice, I guess. I don't know if I can actually say it's advice, but you can take what he says in the book. And one recommendation that he makes in the book is to put a target date fund in your Roth IRA. And I'm not going to get into the weeds of a target date fund because we're going to go off onto a whole other tangent. But that is basically a portfolio that changes its asset allocations according to your age. So the older you get, the safer it gets as far as how much, let's say, for example, what percentage of bonds to stocks that you have. The percentage of that pie will change as you get older in order to maximize your ability to retain your earnings and have something at retirement. So you can look into all those things, but the most important thing is to open a Roth IRA and start investing in it and start figuring out what you want to put in it. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be a long process. You're not going to have to sit there for ages and ages figuring out what kind of everything you want to put in there. You could literally spend like an hour doing this and just start it and just let it grow. As long as you're taking the right steps, sometimes you don't have to get lost in analysis paralysis on this. Just Google Roth IRA and start your way to being smart and investing in a very smart way. And so also you're probably maybe wondering, well, what's the difference between, you might Google this and you'll see what's the difference between a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA. So the Roth IRA, you are contributing money that you already paid taxes on. And when you withdraw it at 59 and a half, you will not pay tax on that. A traditional IRA is the exact opposite. So you are contributing pre-tax dollars, and when you're eventually going to withdraw it, you will pay taxes on that. And why would you choose one or the other? Again, I'm not going to get super deep into the weeds on this, but typically people in lower tax brackets prefer Roth IRAs, and people in higher tax brackets prefer traditional IRAs. And that is mostly because Roths do have income limits. So if you're making too much money, you're not going to be able to contribute to a Roth, and that is your annual income. So for 2023, if you make more than $153,000 as a single person, you cannot contribute to a Roth IRA. That means you cannot put money into a Roth IRA. And for married couples filing jointly, if you make more than $228,000, you will not be able to contribute to a Roth IRA. So all of us who are making, if you're a single person and you're making less than $153,000 per year, you are golden. And also, the amounts that you can put into your Roth IRA are capped each year. So, and these amounts do change per year. So you want to make sure that you're not going over this amount, because if you put too much money into your Roth IRA investments and it's over the cap limit, you're going to be dinged for that. You're going to be penalized for that. And that's not what you want to do. You're going to, I believe it's an excise tax. I think it's, I need to look this up, but I think it's 10% excise tax if you put too much money in. And it's really not a lot of money per year, but it is a solidly, it's a solid middle class amount to contribute each year that they allow you to contribute. So, and again, like I said, these amounts do change every single year. So you have to look it up, and usually the amounts go up and up to account for inflation. So in 2023, you can contribute up to $6,500 every year to your Roth. And if you're 50 or older, you can contribute another $1,000 on top of that. So you can contribute $7,500 per year into your Roth. And there is no age limit for making contributions. So that means you can just keep putting money into your Roth IRA if that's what you want to do. And again, you don't have to withdraw from it if you don't want to. Okay, so, and do be aware that there are monetary penalties if you withdraw early. So if you are someone who has a really hard time, managing things like emergency expenses and things like that, and you have a hard time seeing money just kind of sitting there and it's there, you don't want to be taking money out of your Roth IRA. This is money that is a set it and forget it. And even many people recommend that you do automatic contributions. So you set up just basically an automatic payment that every month or every week you contribute a certain amount, a fixed amount, depending on what you're comfortable with. And it's on automatic. It's just being withdrawn from your checking account every month. You're not thinking about it. It's on auto. The asset allocation can also be automated. So literally, you could potentially set up your Roth IRA and not even look at it again for 10 years and not even worry about it. It's just, that's your retirement. That's what it's for. It's going toward that. And it's not something that you should be using like a checking account to be taking money in and out. That's not going to be good because you will get penalties for early withdrawal fees. But do be aware that if you are taking out the principal amount of money that you put into it, so meaning, let's say that you put $1,000 this year into your Roth IRA, and 3 years from now, that money grew because you invested within your Roth IRA, you invested in an index fund, let's say, and now that money has grown to $1,500. Well, if you are below 59.5, you can withdraw the $1,000 that you originally put into it, but it's not recommended that you withdraw that $500, which are the earnings, which are the capital gains earnings, because you're going to be dinged for that. You're going to be taxed on that, and there is also a 10% early withdrawal fee. So that's not what you want to do. Of course, I have to say this, as with any financial decisions, you have to consider your individual circumstances and perhaps consult with a financial advisor before you open a Roth IRA. But I would recommend actually reading I Will Teach You to Be Rich, because it is an amazing book, and Ramit explains Roth IRAs in a few pages throughout the book, and it really makes a lot of sense, and it's super easy to understand, not complicated at all. Don't make it more complicated than it is. Have fun with it. Go look up different Roth IRAs and open one and just be happy about it. And, even if you don't have any money today, just open one so you know that you have it. And sometimes it'll take a couple days for it to actually open too, because they have to check your information and check your social security number and all the good stuff. And actually also I wanted to give you guys a pretty cool tool. So you can go to nerdwallet.com/investing/Roth IRA calculator. And for that, Roth IRA calculator has dashes in between. So Roth-IRA-calculator, nerdwallet.com. And you can play with some numbers in a super easy way and see how much money you can contribute and how much it could potentially grow. And that's a real fun thing that you can play around with there, just so you can see how much money it's going to take to really get you to retirement and use a vehicle that was created specifically for that. And the younger you start, the better. So, and of course, hey, there's no day like today. So make today the day, right? But you're never too old. You're never too young. You're never too old. So definitely look into this. And I'm going to be doing some follow-up podcasts about what a target date investment fund is. And maybe I'll do another one about traditional IRAs. But for now, go get on your stuff and look into your Roth IRA and get jump started on that. Just as a fun aside as well, just to get you a little bit excited, even though this is for sure not the norm. But PayPal co-founder, was he the co-founder? Yes, the PayPal co-founder, Peter Thiel. Okay, he grew a Roth IRA that was worth less than $2,000 in 1999 to now being worth more than $5 billion. And he did that in a Roth IRA. So $2,000 to $5 billion. Pretty crazy. Of course, that's absolutely not the norm. But basically, he bought PayPal stock for fractions of pennies, and those stocks were held within a Roth IRA. And that money grew and grew and grew and grew and grew as time went on and technology evolved, and now PayPal is worth whatever it's worth. And now, at the age of 59 and a half, he can withdraw that entire amount, that entire $5 billion completely tax-free, which is crazy. So I really hope you guys got some value out of this. And if you are wherever you are, if you can smash that like button and give me a follow if you're on Spotify or Apple. It really does help me a lot. This has been a very bumpy journey for me to actually start this podcast. I now understand the podcaster's struggle. So if you can give me a like and a subscribe, that would help me immensely. And if you want to connect with me, you can look me up really anywhere, either under Krystal Khali, Khali, or you can go to my personal website, themostfamouswomanintheworld.com. Listen to some groovy tunes and some cool guitar playing. Or you can connect with our mentoring and menteeing community, which is millionairementormethod.com. And as always, we do need mentors. And if you're looking for a mentor, if you want to be a mentee, you can contact me personally on that website through the contact form, and it goes directly to me, to my personal email. So I'm definitely going to be looking at that. We're everywhere on social media at Millionaire Mentor Method, all over, and you can DM me there too, and I'm going to be responding personally to those as well. And until then, each one teach one.
The information provided in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice, investment advice, or medical advice. The host is not a financial advisor nor a medical doctor or licensed therapist. Any financial or medical decisions made based on the information in this podcast are made at the listener's own risk. It is recommended that listeners consult with licensed professionals such as CPAs, financial advisors, and licensed physicians before making any investment or medical decisions. The host and creators of this podcast accept no responsibility or liability for any loss or damages incurred as a result of the information provided in this podcast.